So, I was wrong about One Piece. You know, whenever you start a show and you think that maybe this will be the one to pick off everything, and you end it and you're like, hell nah, this shit is fucking awful. I do not want to watch another second of this series. This series is so fucking bad. Well, yeah, that's what this video is about. One Piece. The fucking horrible, horrendous anime adaptation. Fucking disgusting. I'm disgusted.
One very intense fucking week later.
And well, that was me 1 week
Ain't
ago.
no way I just got
With
cut
me
off
and
of
me,
my
I
own
started
self.
off with dub, and well,
Ain't no way.
needless to say,
Oh,
that
well,
did not
continue on
help.
with the video.
So after months of putting it off, I decided to give it another shot. I ended up hating anime more than the first time, never got used to how some of the characters sounded, the old school animation and the square aspect ratio wasn't really the best feeling, so yeah, I dropped the anime as a whole. But before you all dislike and leave this video, that was just the anime. My boy Unity hooked me up with the color print version of the manga, and it had my ass hooked. I found myself enjoying every little arc, the minor characters that showed up for only a few chapters, the new characters that get added to the crew, and their little backstories. Heck, it even had me crying over a dog. A fucking dog. And that good boy deserved better. So now I think I finally get why so many people love this series, and also why a lot of people might not like it so much. So a thing I found happening in pretty much every arc so far, and I'm only 69 chapters in, is that they all kind of have the same formula. We start off with Luffy just wandering about, they end up in a town where a bad guy is, and they either meet the next member of their crew and defeat said bad guy, or they defeat them and meet a new member to add to the crew. It's kind of the same thing for pretty much every arc, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure this is most likely a thing that is happening only in the early parts of the story, so that it can set up our main characters and have a forward-driving plot. I have no problem with this at all, but you can probably see why some may turn away from it. So before I start picking out all the bad, I'll list what I feel One Piece does great. First off, I love the characters, they all have something that is unique to them. My little thoughts on them is that Luffy is well, our dumb lovable stretchy boy that can be pretty badass at times, and in others not so much. Nami is pretty much the master thief and navigator, who really just dipped on the whole crew when they needed her most. But I'm pretty sure she has her own reasons for stealing that ship. With Zoro, who is a swordsmaster, which is a character I didn't really see growing on me till the recent chapters, and yeah, he might just be my favorite character. And as for Usopp, whose backstory got a little too dark and made my eyes sweat a bit, but overall, Usopp is just Usopp, and managed just being himself, so not much to say here. Then there's Sanji. While he may be one big huge simp, I gotta say, I fell in love with his character and how loyal he is, and like in his panel right here, it had me in my feelings. So far, that's all I got for the main crew. They all have something that, well, makes them something. I can get a sense of the dynamic and what exactly the story is. It gives off a fresh feeling of action and adventure, as it always is interesting to see how a character will adapt and change throughout this crazy adventure, and it really makes you wonder what the story will build off to and how it will end. So now the next thing, world building. If you've been in this community for a while now, you should already be aware of how much anime and manga fans love to talk about world building, as it's one of the main elements that make up a story. If it's not present or just complete trash, stories won't end up having much to work with. When you have world building and it's done right, you can get amazing stories like Twilight, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, Little Red Riding Hood, the kids who walked into the... Yeah, you get the point. You basically get the point that these are all shit stories. You apply some world building and they're a decent story at bare minimum. And it's pretty important. With One Piece's world building, it's expanding its own horizon by having its setting being in the sea. A thing in the story is about how far you can actually take the character and what more the world has to offer. In One Piece, since they are set up with a sea and a boat, there are no bounds as to how far they can take it. In almost every arc, you get introduced to a new character that sets up a new landmark or a place that exists in the world, whether it be a new species, item, or just a whole different brand of strong characters. Like, bruh, this man soloed a whole fleet of ships. That ain't human. But I also imagine if it is human, but I'm just not far enough to understand, but don't spoil for me, alright? So as for its world building, it has much to work with, and I don't see any limits. There will always be time to introduce a new race, mystical fruit, or civilization before they reach the Grand Line, which is probably one of the greatest strengths, aside from the much likable characters. Now off to why some may hate it. So as stated before, I used to be a former hater of this series called One Piece. So in that recording at the start, that was me 1 week ago. I recorded it as a joke because my girlfriend really loves One Piece and well, I ended up liking it and thought it made a good intro. So now off to why some may hate it. As for me, and a more new gen type anime fan, I've only been watching anime for about 3 years now. My first touch in anime was mainstream anime, so needless to say, I started off with a completely different standard. So when you have more older-ish type shows like One Piece with a square aspect ratio and not the best animation compared to today's standard, it made it really hard to find a will to watch. I'm sure that if you watched it growing up or have a different appeal in anime, you'd enjoy it. For me, this is a problem when trying to get into series like Bleach, as it's not a matter of how good the show is and whatnot, it's more of if it can appeal to me. For example, take Inuyasha, for example, and Jujutsu Kaisen. If you were to place these two side by side and show one of the best scenes from each in front of a non-anime watcher, which do you think they would choose? If you think about it, it's obviously going to be Jujutsu Kaisen. It has nothing to do with if the show has the best character, story, and plot. It all comes down to what appeals to who. That's simply how it was for me in One Piece. That certain appeal just wasn't there. I also stated in the beginning that it had a repetitive sense in the early parts of the story, so being an avid anime watcher and seeing the same formula used in a show that you probably already dread from the sheer number of episodes and it being a bit old, it just might not give the watcher the drive to stick around. But wait, a simple solution to anyone out there. If you can't stand the voice acting, the animation, or any other aspect of the anime, just read the manga. It is an easy fix for just about any problem someone could have with a series. After all, I did that and I found myself enjoying it. I'm really glad I didn't miss out on a chance to check out such an amazing series. Also, a little call out to those that will not watch because of the 900 plus episodes. If it is a show that you really love, it doesn't matter how many it has. You can always watch at your own pace and enjoy. Now, if you watch the first few episodes and you don't have the drive to carry on, you probably just don't like the series. And that's okay. It just isn't what you like. Also, a little call out to those of you that will not watch because of the 900 plus episodes. If it is a show that you really love, it doesn't matter how many it has. You can always watch at your own pace and just enjoy it. Now, if you watch the first few episodes and you don't have the drive to carry on, you probably just don't like the series. And that's okay. It just isn't what you like. So the whole One Piece is too long argument never made sense to me. If you're impatient, just read the manga. No excuse to not actively be reading it, if you love it. This applies to just about any other anime too. So yeah, going back to the actual video. As for where I see it going from my current place, I'm guessing it will be more of the same formula till we get to the main cast, but I'm also looking forward to what happens more after that. For me, I'm still in the early parts of the story, so I can't wait to see more badass moments and what more the story has to bring. With a world as big as One Piece and all the opportunities it provides, I'm interested to see where it goes. Would it be future discord among the main groups, what new characters they will bring in, and how exactly the plot will deepen as it gets closer to the end goal. Alright, now off to my final thoughts on One Piece. My final thoughts on One Piece is that it's something that's truly great and I shouldn't have put it off for so long. I love the characters and the story is just so fun to read. I sometimes find myself not wanting to stop reading until I reach the end of an arc, as I get really intrigued by the story and it feels nice to just relax and read it. So every part of it has that good feeling that I always get when I find something I truly love. One Piece is really one of those mangas that you don't really get at first. Well, I'm not sure about everyone else when I say this, but to me, I didn't really see any appeal to it. The idea of this one series being as big as it is with a global fan base is bound to have people that don't want to give it a shot. You can say you don't want to watch something because it's 900 plus episodes or you don't want to spend time reading something so long, but that's not an excuse. You can always watch a few every now and then if it's something that you truly enjoy. If you don't, then that's only when it's a problem. Give it a shot and if you like it, I promise that the time you spend reading or watching will be worth your time. So yeah, I did drop the One Piece anime because, well, I'm not always gonna be the biggest fan of more older shows, as it's just something about the aspect ratio that just turns me off. Also, I didn't really fuck with a lot of the voice acting and shit, which is really more of a personal preference, well, all of this is really. So yeah, if you ever wanted to watch an anime but don't really vibe with it, give the manga a shot. Lesson of the day, if you will. Alright, time to clock out and so to see. See you all in the next one, and until then, stay safe out there, accomplish whatever you set out to do. And yeah, peace. Dreamin', don't give it up, Luffy, dreamin'. Don't give it up, Solo, dreamin'. Don't give it up, Nami, dreamin'. Don't give it up, 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 give it up. Ah! Here's how the story goes. We found out about the Grand Line. There's no doubt that pirates whose size on it he'll sing. I'll be the king of pirates. I'm gonna be king. Yo, yeah, yo, yo. Oh, yo, yo. His name is Luffy. That's monkey. I don't even know how this thing goes. I just looked at the lyrics because I know people meme on this shit. I